After a long week of basketball, as we know, it's Rebuild Fridays here on AFL 26, and the House of Carlton is burning down as we speak. Time for me to rebuild it. Hello everybody, Cooper here, and welcome to another rebuild. Carlton need all sorts of help, and yep, they're currently losing everybody in free agency, trades, Curnow, De Koning, Silvani. It's not looking good. My goal for this first season is just not have the wheels fall off entirely. We're going to try and win 5 games against top 6 sides from last year, maintain a top 8 position against 6 different rounds. Apart from that, I have no real ambitions for this first season. We have to get to the trade period, and hopefully, after I trade everyone away, we'll bounce back and win a premiership. In all seriousness, it is not completely all bad. We do have a young man by the name of Jagger Smith, who unfortunately hasn't played a game all year due to a knee injury, but we picked him up with the 3rd pick in last year's draft, and we are hoping that we're going to be able to build the club around this young man. Unfortunately for us, he's not injured in this universe, so he's going to be playing from round 1. And we do a very good number on the West Coast Eagles in our preseason game by winning by 114 points. Cottrell and Walsh both kicked 4. I like what I've seen. But can we get it done up against Richmond on a Thursday night at the MCG? I'm hoping that we will be able to. We get our first win of the year with a bang. 43 points. We do a good job. Because Carlton, really good players aside, their list is far too top heavy. There's too many really good players at the top, not enough really good players at the bottom. So I'm hoping to change the salary structure of the club, trading out some of those players that are on really high wages, and hopefully we'll be able to have a bit more of a sustained success period over the coming years. I will see you guys in the trade period. Hopefully we can finish at least in the top 8, if not top 10 at most. Look, I don't know how to explain it. We finished in the top 4. We had a really good run of fixtures. We've won our last 4 games, so we are entering a hot period of form. This went a lot better than I thought it was going to, but I'm going to keep it realistic. I'm going to be training the likes of De Koning, Silvani, Holland, and possibly even Charlie Curnow, even though he wants to leave. Carlton probably not going to trade him, but we'll see how we go. We've actually got Sydney in the opening qualifying final, which should be good fun. We've got an interstate game. I actually forgot to schedule my travel over the course of the year, so I'm actually surprised we didn't get as many injuries as we did. We're going to keep the lineup exactly the same. Hopefully, we don't encounter too many issues in this one. I know it's a away game, but we get the job done by 45 points. We beat the Swans in Sydney. Brody Kemp with the 32 touches, Cripps with the 32, played very well also. And now we've got the Crows in a prelim final. I did not have this on my bingo card. Look, we've made the grand final. I am going to simulate the grand final, so I'm not going to play around and play this game. Team is basically the same. Where is Jagger Smith? Why is he not in the lineup? He played 1 game, kicked 3 goals. Did I take him out accidentally? That's a mistake on my behalf. Maybe that's why Carlton are good. We've won the Premiership in the first season. What? Sam Walsh wins the Norm Smith medal. Very interesting. Now it's time to blow the club up, trade everybody, and go back down to the bottom of the ladder. Maybe Carlton don't need rebuilding after all. And then after all that, Tom Green wins the Brownlow medal with 28 votes, does a really nice job leading the competition. Sam Walsh ended up with 20. Sam Darcy led the goal kicking, wins the Coleman this year. Charlie Curnow led the way with 35 for us. Murphy Reid very predictably won the Rising Star. Jagger Smith played 1 game and got 12 votes in the Rising Star. That is strange. And then in the All-Australian, De Koning makes it on a wing. Anybody else? Nope. So even though Sam Walsh got 20 Brownlow votes, he did not make the All-Australian team, but De Koning did. That's interesting. And now it's time to get into the nuts and bolts of this rebuild. All of these players are uncontracted. I'm not going to bring a single one of them back. If you are not under contract, you are leaving. Free agency itself is now here, and I don't think there's a single player on this list that would be considering coming to Carlton, considering what's happening at the moment. So I'm just going to dodge free agency completely, at least for top tier players. I'm really just going to be focusing on the draft and trading for youngsters. Because the one thing that we are going to be able to promise young players, game time, because there's going to be no really good players here. Hopefully, we can get to the trade period. Unrestricted free agency is now here. I just want to get to the trade period. There we go. And if we have a look at the top of the draft board, we are close to be having the 18th pick or something like that in the first round. But if we have a look at the national draft, we can see that there is Tomlinson here, who is a really good halfback, 89 to 99 potential. But he is definitely going to be an option considering some of the talent we are losing out of our back 50. Are there any other really top tier players on this list going forward? Not that I can really see. Braden Chapman is also here. He's a little bit worse in overall ability, has a little bit less potential than the player that we saw before, but he is another one to consider if we get another few draft picks. We've got a key defender here in Aiden Dennis from the Allies. I was going to say from the Origin, but that is not what I mean. He is looking like he may be a decent prospect. So there's a couple of really good defensive prospects. Outside of that, not a great deal. And we entered the draft at pick 18 as I thought, even though... Actually, no, we did win the Premiership, so I don't know why I thought we wouldn't have pick 18. But if we go to our main roster here, Silvani's getting traded. I'm going to try and keep Cowan. Motlop's a good young player. Hollins is gone. Chera will keep for now, but we'll probably move him on at some point. I have no idea what to do with Patrick Cripps, because if we trade absolutely everybody, he's probably going to want to go. So yeah, it's a real mess. I will see you guys once I've made some trades. I've been very busy in the trade period. It has actually taken me so long to get this done, but there was so much that I wanted to get rid of because there's like a rot within this football club that it's almost like it's a stink. I have no words that I can describe it with. Anyway, first trade is probably the most obvious one that I did. Silvani and Tom de Koning off to St Kilda. We also included Adam Sard and Mitch McGovern to get pick 6 just to get the deal done. We then sent the Hollands boys along with pick 18, which was our own, to the Western Bulldogs for pick 10. We have then forwarded that on to the West Coast Eagles in a trade you'll see in a minute. We then did a straight swap, Charlie Curnow for Errol Goulden. There wasn't much for us to do here. We needed another midfielder and I wanted to get rid of Charlie Curnow, so that was easy. Now this on the surface may seem a little bit strange. We've sent Patrick Cripps off to the West Coast Eagles along with Blake Acres and pick 10 for Harley Reid. Now I know Harley Reid just signed a massive contract extension. Well, not a massive contract extension, it was only 2 years. But I wanted to bring him in for many reasons. One, wouldn't be the first time the Carlton have taken away a West Coast midfielder. You know, just saying. And 2, Cripps, Western Australian, seemed to make sense. He's a little bit older, so I wanted to include something that would actually entice the Eagles to get this deal done. And 3, videos are much funner when Harley Reid is involved. The next deal was sending Harry Mackay, Nick Haynes and Zach Williams off to GWS for Aaron Cadman and a first round pick. Cadman is going to be the replacement for Mackay and Curnow. Obviously he can't replace 2 players at once, but I'm hoping that pick down the line will also help out in getting another key forward. We then sent Motlop, Cooper Lord, Lewis Young and pick 38 off to Port Adelaide for a future second round pick. This is now the first of 2 deals that I did with Geelong. We sent Adam Chera, Brody Kemp and Nick Newman off to the Cats for Ollie Dempsey, who I think is going to be very good for us. This trade was simply dumping expired contracts to Richmond for a 3rd round pick. I mean, there's nothing really more for us to do here. The second deal with Geelong is sending Pitternet, Fogarty, Cottrell for Sam de Koning. When one de Koning leaves, you bring in another. Hopefully, I mean, he's not as good as his brother, but hopefully he can do a somewhat reasonable replication of what his brother brought to the table. And this last one is also just a pink dump to North Melbourne. Now, as things stand, we only have 17 players on our list. We also did pick up Ari Schoenmaker and Bodie Ryan in free agency. They were both delisted, so we just decided to pick them up. A couple of players with decent potential. But that does mean that the draft and rookie draft is going to be very, very, very long. So I'll do my important picks at the top of the draft, but in terms of who I'm going to be picking with my 23rd pick, I'm not going to bore you with that. Free agency time, and Jack Petrocelli has signed with the Bombers. The Eagles get pick 34. Starcevic is off to North Melbourne. Brisbane gets some compensation. Oscar Allen also off to St Kilda. Apparently everyone's just signing to St Kilda nowadays. Callum Archie is off to Melbourne. Brisbane really losing out here. Jack Buckley's been traded to Freo from GWS for pick 23 and Corey Wagner. Connor McDonald and an unused pick has been traded to North for pick 2. That seems steep for Hawthorn. Michael Frederick's been traded to Port Adelaide for pick 22. Jamara, who was another forward that I was looking at, but he had already been traded, unfortunately. He's been sent to Hawthorn, along with pick 44 for a future first and pick 2. Zach Bailey and pick 10 have been sent to the Doggies for a future first and pick 13. Jack Burrows has been sent back to the Gold Coast Suns for a handful of draft picks. And these are getting into our deals here that we got done. Nasiah Wanganeen-Miller has been traded to Melbourne for pick 9. Ryan Burton signed with North Melbourne as a free agent, which is quite interesting because he was delisted by Port Adelaide in real life not too recently. Darcy Tucker's now signed with Richmond as a free agent. Mitch Lewis has been traded to Melbourne for pick 24. Josh Weddle's off to Collingwood for a couple of draft picks as well. Kay Chandler has been traded from Melbourne to Essendon. Noah Answorth to GWS. Ryan Gardner to Port Adelaide for a future second. Marcus Windhager did make his way to GWS in the end. And Mitch Hinge, along with pick 14, has been traded for a future first and pick 33 to Port Adelaide. Good golly almighty, that was a mouthful. We are in at pick 6. And I'm hoping that one of at least the 2 defenders that I was looking at before will be available. I think Tomlinson was one of them, unfortunately. So he's gone at pick 3 to the Eagles, funnily enough. But Chapman is still available, so that is lovely. We're going to be picking him up with our first pick in the first round. Next up, going to be taking Joseph Harrison, another defender with a bit of potential. I don't know why this is the case in AFL 26 this year, but a lot of the good draft picks, I should say, they're all like halfbacks. I don't know why that is. I'm probably going to play a few of them out of position. We're going to have a look at Leo Foster here, see what his potential brings. 79 to 89, it's not bad. We may as well take him, just stock up. And this is sort of the point of the draft where it starts to get a little bit less interesting. Archie Wesley is next up. He could be a potential key forward replacement. So we've got him, we've got Cadman, he's 202 centimeters. He is a big boy, and I believe the rest of the draft is ours. So I will be back once the rest of our roster is filled out. Objectives for next year, I just finished in the top 15 because, yeah, we are going to be absolutely terrible this year. We've got a lot of money. I need to upgrade the facilities, and then we'll get into some preseason action. Look, I'll be honest, it's not a great team, but hopefully it won't be super, super terrible. We've got Callum Porter in the back pocket, Harry O'Farrell, who was a youngster that was drafted last year. We didn't actually talk about him a great deal, but he's going to be starting at fullback this year. Braden Chapman going to be in that back pocket, who we drafted with the 6th overall pick. Errol Goulden running off of halfback. He is not going to be the captain. I'm going to give that to Sam Walsh, along with Jacob Wiedering. Actually, he should be the captain, not Sam Walsh. Stupid me. Lockie Cowan at the other halfback flank with Ollie Dempsey, Harley Reid, Ben Camporelli, Jagger Smith, Sam Walsh, and Sam De Koning in the ruck. George Hewitt's going to start at half forward. Archie Wesley, who we picked up in the draft, is going to be centre half forward. Isaiah Winder at half forward flank. Lucas Camporelli in a forward pocket. Aaron Cadman at full forward with Oliver Lowe in the other forward pocket with Hudson Gray, Shane Nelson, Ari Showmaker, Milan Murdoch, and Liam Hickmott as the sub. We actually don't do too badly in our preseason game. We only lose by 16 over in Perth against Fremantle. But once again, round 1 up against the Tigers. How do we go? We get the win, surprisingly. I know Richmond are pretty bad, but I didn't expect us to win a game this year, to be perfectly honest. Sam Walsh with the 3 Brownlow votes. Harley Reid with the 2 for his new club, I should say. Fantastic work. We have a tie in the Brownlow medal. Sam Walsh and Bontempelli at the top. Brayshaw, McCluggage, and Sheasel all 1 vote behind. We almost had a 5-way tie at the top. That is very, very funny. Kaushadir wins the Coleman. Very, very good. Jagger Smith finishes in 2nd. Can't quite win it, unfortunately. In the All-Australian side, do we get anybody? I'm guessing we don't. No real surprise there, because we were absolutely terrible. We finish on the bottom of the ladder. 4 wins and a draw. We beat Richmond twice. We beat the Eagles twice. And then we drew with Brisbane. That was it. We lost to everybody else, and 3 of those teams are in the bottom 5. So there's a clear divide between bottom 5 teams and the rest of the competition, clearly. And the Suns win the grand final this year. 85-point winners over the Hawks. Took Miller with the 3 votes. Ben King with the 5 in front of goal was very, very good. But took Miller 42 disposals was amazing. Only the 7 out of contract players at this point in time. Ben Camporelli is one of them, and apparently he has low morale, even though I believe he played every single game for us, so we may have to move him on if he's not willing to sign a new contract. Sam Walsh is out of contract. We'll be signing him up very shortly, but everybody else I'm fairly happy to let go of, apart from Camporelli, if I can't get a deal done for him. With the Walsh deal signed, we have 7 contracts to sign, or 7 player spots available, and we've got about $10.5 million to spend. So this should be a lot of fun this offseason. I'm assuming we have the number 1 pick. I actually haven't looked at our draft situation yet. So we have pick 1, but we also have somebody else's pick, if I remember correctly. Who finished 3rd? I can't remember, but we have 16. We also have 19, which is our own second rounder, and 37 as well. So quite a few high draft picks. And there's a really good midfielder, Caden Mosley, who we're definitely taking with the first pick in the draft. 17 years of age, ton of potential. There's also Archie Flynn here, who is very, very good. This could be a fun draft. I'm going to try and trade up for the second pick as well to make sure Flynn doesn't fall too far. Now, even though Jared Witts just won a premiership with the Gold Coast Suns, I know he is Victorian, so he may be looking for a little bit of a contract to come home and play in Victoria for the final years of his career. He's 34 years of age now. Currently a free agent. The Suns haven't offered him a new deal. He's only after $840,000 a season. We can definitely do that for him. And considering it's only for 2 years, I feel very, very comfortable about this deal. So he's going to be a very, very sort of overqualified backup to play alongside De Koning. Welcome aboard, Jared Witts. And speaking of really, really good young midfielders, Zach Butters, also a free agent. I think a 6-year deal is fair to him. Going to take him through to his age 31 season, I believe. I have no idea how much money he would want. He wants about $1.245 million. We have got more money than God right now. So this should be a fairly easy deal to be put through. As we know, Zach Butters did sign an extension through to the end of 2026. That is where we are now. And he's out of here. He's out of Port Adelaide. We're going to sign him up. And this is going to take a while because there's no way to put the digits up any faster. Probably not the greatest design decision, I must admit. But we get there eventually, and Zach Butters is now signed up for the next 6 years. We have not done a single trade yet, but we've already spent $2 million in the off-season. Nice to have Jared Witts and Zach Butters aboard. Nothing else has happened in free agency. I will meet up with you guys at the end of the trade period. We're going to start in the trade period, and first up, we've got this trade with the Adelaide Crows, going to be sending Ben Camporelli, Ashton Moyer, O'Keefe, and pick 17 over to the Adelaide Crows for pick 10. We then forwarded pick 10, Harrison, Crowden, and Battersby over to Port Adelaide for pick 7. This was in our pursuit to try and get the second overall pick. We then send pick 7, pick 20, and 2 third-round picks. These picks appear to have gone unused, hence their appearance, over to St Kilda for their 4th overall pick. We then forward that one to Richmond to get the second overall pick finally. We send pick 4, future second, George Hewitt and Selwood to get that done. Here's the thing. We did do a deal to get the second overall pick, and originally that was my idea. But I had this idea in mind and a change in philosophy occurred. To me, as a non-Victorian, having grown up in South Australia and lived there for the majority of my life, Carlton strike me very much as a white-collar club. Now, I want Carlton to become this kind of club that I feel like at times they're afraid to get their hands and their nose dirty, and I wanted to rip the soul out of another club. And who better to do that to than Collingwood? We traded our future first round pick, pick 2, over to Collingwood for Nick Dacos. Would Collingwood do this in real life? Absolutely not. They would never trade Nick Dacos unless he wanted to leave. But this is a video game and we're doing this for fun. So our future pick, because we finished on the bottom of the ladder, is valued quite highly at the moment. And obviously pick 2 is high in the draft for a reason. we get Nick Dacos. He's going to be in our midfield. We also do this deal where we dump a couple of expired contracts over to Freo for pick 55. Not important. But on top of all that, we also signed Bailey Scott in free agency as well. We signed Nick Dacos. But on top of that, we signed Bailey Scott in free agency through to 2030. He was a free agent, so we signed him. Need I say more? But Nick Dacos now signed through to the end of 2035. If you're a Collingwood supporter, I'm sorry. But if you're a Carlton supporter, you're welcome. On top of our moves, Lockie Ash has been sent to the West Coast Eagles by GWS for pick 22. Hayden McLean is off to Brisbane for pick 24. Joel Amardi and pick 9 has been traded to Melbourne for a future first and pick 12. These are all of our trades that we did. Then Ollie Henry was traded by Geelong to Brisbane for pick 16. Matt Rao is now off to Essendon for a future first and pick 8. Harrison Jones has been traded to Richmond for pick 40. Hawthorn have traded Ginnivan. They always seem to trade Ginnivan, I don't know why, to Geelong for pick 29 and pick 16. The Wiz has also been traded to Brisbane for a future first and pick 5. Bailey Williams is now going to join the other Bailey Williams over at West Coast for a future second. Kai Lohmann's off to Melbourne for pick 9 and pick 46. And then Jack Williams has been traded from West Coast to Richmond for a future third. But we do have the number 1 pick, and I am going to take the player that I always intended to take, Caden Mosley. Welcome to this stacked midfield that we are employing very, very quickly. And then we don't enter the draft again until pick 50. I can see that Mason Hayes is a player here with a lot of potential. He's a key defender. We always need more of those, so I'm quite happy to take him. I think we should take Jack out here. I did think about trading him at the end of season 1, or trading for him at the end of season 1, but I never did in the end. And then who is the highest rated player here? Will Phillips, perfect. Another North Melbourne player. That is fine. We are all done in the AFL draft. We need to take anyone in the rookie draft. We need to take 4 more players, apparently. As we enter season 3, I think if we can just finish in the top 8 and be placed within the top 8 within 6 different rounds, I think that is a reasonable goal for us. Unfortunately, we lose in pre-season of 2027. 53-point loss to the Cats. They just showing how dominant they are. They're a very, very good side. Best 22 for this season is on screen, as seen. Braden Chapman in the back pocket. Harry O'Farrell is in that full back spot. Bodie Ryan, Errol Goulden off of half-back. Jacob Wiedering, Lockie Cowan. The Jag on one wing. Nick Dacos in the middle. Zach Butters, Harley Reid, Sam Walsh, De Koning. What a midfield that is. With Ollie Dempsey at half forward. Archie Wesley at centre half forward. Tom Blamires not doing too bad at the half forward flank. Played a little bit of footy for us last year. Aaron Cadman at full forward, being a bit of a presence, with Oliver Lowe at the other forward pocket, with Jared Witts on the bench. Bailey Scott, Caden Mosley on the bench as well, with Zerk Thatcher, who we picked up in the rookie draft, and Isaiah Winder as the sub. Richmond, MCG, round 1, lose by 11 goals. Fantastic start. And it's another Carlton Brownlow medalist, but this time it is Nick Dacos with the 28 votes, wins it over Connor Nash. In the end, Charlie Curnow wins the Coleman medal for Sydney. And there's quite a few Carlton players down the bottom here. Cadman led the way for us this year with 35 goals. Nick Dacos with the 34 did very, very well from the midfield. No rising star, unfortunately, for us. Jacob Wiedering makes All-Australian centre-half back. No Dacos. Dacos on the interchange of the All-Australian team, even though he was the Brownlow medalist. But I must say, it wasn't a good season for us. We did improve. We won 7 games this year, so there is a vision. Didn't go as well as I hoped. Unfortunately, we still finished in the bottom 3. West Coast and Richmond still struggling. North Melbourne doing very, very well up there in 11th. And Melbourne win the flag over Hawthorn in this one, a 28-point win at the MCG, and Petrarca gets his second Norm Smith medal. Very, very impressive. And I've done my work early in the off-season this year. In fact, I have not made a single trade. I did all of my work in free agency. We have brought in Toby, Tom, Caleb, and Isaac. I'm going to explain my logic for all of them because they're all coming for different reasons. Toby Green has played his entire career for GWS. He wants to experience playing in his home state week in and week out. That is his reason, and GWS still haven't won a premiership yet. The argument could be made that we are closer than them. We'll wait and see. Tom Stewart got tired of farming. Caleb Sarong wanted to leave Victoria, and Isaac Rankin, well, he doesn't like playing in Adelaide anymore. I don't know, I just came up with a reason for Isaac Rankin. That is basically it, and we have not even gotten close to spending all of our money. Our roster is coming together very, very nicely. We actually did quite well on our objectives front this year. We won 2 consecutive games, and we beat 4 top 8 teams from last year. We just couldn't finish in the top 8. So hopefully with the moves that we have made, we've brought in some veterans and some good talent. Hopefully we can get the job done, as the Burger King has actually gone and signed with North Melbourne in free agency. Darcy Jones is off to the Crows. Paul Curtis to Richmond. William Green off to the Suns. Jad McVee to North Melbourne. Shannon Neal to St Kilda. Tom McCartan to the Crows. Darcy Wilson to the Crows. Are the Crows just getting everybody this year? I don't know what they're doing. Luke Lloyd has been traded to Port Adelaide. Will Day to Richmond. Logan McDonald to Collingwood. Darcy Wilmot to the Eagles. Trent Rivers to Geelong for a couple of first rounders. Ruben Ginbey off to North Melbourne. Taylor Go to Port Adelaide for draft pick 7, which I believe that was exactly how it happened in my Port Adelaide series. George is also off to North Melbourne for Will Dawson. So just something of a swap there. That's quite interesting. Aiden Dennis to Port Adelaide for a future first rounder to the Saints. And then Jai Caldwell to Collingwood for a future third rounder and a third pick in the draft, which I believe is actually our pick that we traded them for Dacos. We don't enter the draft until very, very late. I don't think there's going to be a great deal for us to do in this one. As we head into 2028, surely this is the year that we finish in the top 8. We have been so good in our recruiting phase this year, and I'm hopeful that this will be the year that we get to at least the finals. And our lineup for round 1 is as follows. Chapman, Farrell, I keep saying Farrell, not O'Farrell. Lockie Cowan, Goulden, Jacob Wiedering, Tom Stewart at half back this time. Good recruit, I think, even though he's 35 years of age. Jesus. Jagger Smith, Nick Dacos, Caleb Sarong, Zach Butters, Sam Walsh, Sam DeConing, very good midfield. Isaac Rankin at half forward. Archie Wesley. We're going to put Harley Reid at a half forward flank with Oliver Dempsey, Aaron Cadman, Toby Green, Jared Witts, Bailey Scott, Will Phillips, Caden Mosley, and Sam Berry, who we picked up in the rookie draft as the sub. But let's kick our season off in style. Big win over Richmond. Good God almighty. 203-90. What the hell just happened? Sam Walsh with the 3 votes. Cadman kicked 5. This season could be the one we win the Premiership again. So we made the finals, which was lovely. We've got a qualifying final up against Fremantle at home, but I feel like I may have accidentally created a monster. We're 4.5 games clear at the top of the ladder. We're on 84 points. Brisbane's in second on 66. St Kilda have finally risen from the Doldrums. They are on 64. Freo in fourth with 60. Collingwood all the way down the bottom at, or near the bottom at least. Port Adelaide not doing too good either. But this is a bit bizarre season, bizarre turnaround. It was not supposed to be like this. I just wanted to make the top 8, let alone this monster that I've created. Let's see how we go in the simulation. We win by 7 points. Dominant first quarter, we do well. Tom Stewart with the bog. And now we get the week off. Let's have a little bit of rest. It's what we need. We now have the doggies at home once again. Win or get out of town. Same team, same place. How the hell did we lose to the Bulldogs?
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair.
We lose 2 games all year. I do not understand. Ugh, Jesus. How does this team lose and that first team from the first season wins the Premiership? I do not understand. Josh Dunkley wins the Brownlow medal. Good for him. Zach Butters in second. Patrick Cripps also in second for the West Coast Eagles. That looks weird that he's in a West Coast Eagles uniform. Aaron Cadman wins his first Coleman medal. Harley Reid with the 36 at half forward does very nicely. Jacob Wiedering gets All-Australian centre half back once again. Cadman at full forward. Butters in the interchange, I should say. Who won the Premiership in 2028? the Doggies win. So we lose to the eventual premiers, which is probably fair, to be honest. Bontempelli wins the flag as captain, gets the Norm Smith medal. But now it is time to start the 2028 off-season, and we've got to find the nuclear launch codes, because after winning the flag in 2025, we have been really unsuccessful, and possibly with one of the best teams in AFL history, we lose in a prelim. So these are the players that are out of contract. I'm going to try and bring some new players in. Jared Witts, this is why we only signed him to a 2-year deal. He's all the way down to a 75 now, so we'll probably just delist him. But first and foremost, we have to bring back Caden Mosley, who is our #1 pick from 2026. We're going to sign him up to a 3-year extension, which he does accept. And now I'm going to have a look at free agency, see what moves we can do to strengthen our team and go for glory in 2029. With Jared Witts getting worse in his overall player ability and getting older, I had to get a little bit frisky in the trade market, and my main priority was getting a new ruckman. The first deal that I did was sending Archie Wesley, Christian Moraes, and Hayes, who was a player that we drafted in our first season, and our future first round pick over to the Bombers in exchange for pick 7. We then forwarded that pick over to the Suns in a later deal. We then also traded pick 16, which was our own first round pick, Bodie Ryan, Bailey Scott, and James Leake, all players that we've picked up along the way, to the Swans for pick 5. We then combined 5 and 7 to trade them to the Suns in exchange for Ben King and Mac Andrew, just to sort of hold up our main team, bit of service at both ends of the ground. And then we sent some expiring deals over to Melbourne, including Jared Witts, actually, funnily enough, for a future second. Now, you're probably wondering where the new ruckman is. We actually took Toby Nankervis from Richmond. He was a free agent. He's better than, well, Jared Witts ever has been. And we signed him up to a 2-year deal. We're starting to get to the pointy end of our salary situation right now, but I'm very happy with our roster as it stands. We don't have any real impact on the draft this year, so I'm just going to skip over it. But we will have a quick look around the league. Chase Jones has signed with the West Coast Eagles as a free agent. The Crows get pick 36 as compensation. Sam Sturt has also signed with Essendon as an unrestricted free agent. Josh Rochelle was then traded to Collingwood for 2 unused picks. That's a bad piece of business. Jace Burgoyne has been traded from Port to North Melbourne. I don't know why. But Colton Tholstrup has also been traded from Melbourne to Port Adelaide in exchange for some future picks. Alex Davies is off to Richmond. Jaya Miss to St Kilda. And these are our deals that we did. Matt Whitlock's been traded from North Melbourne to Freo for pick 15. Matty Roberts has been traded to Hawthorn from Sydney for an unused pick. Charlie Nichols to Brisbane for pick 17. Riley Thilthorpe to Melbourne for pick 4. The Crows would never do that, I know, but it's a video game, so we don't have to worry about it too much. St Kilda have received pick 37 as compensation for losing Liam Henry to Essendon as an unrestricted free agent. Ashton Moyer, who we traded to the Crows, has now been traded to Port Adelaide for a couple of draft picks. Brody Kemp, who we also traded to Geelong, has been traded to West Coast. Jake the Snake Rogers has been traded from the Suns to the Crows for some future picks. Ethan Reid has been traded to St Kilda for the #1 pick. So the Suns starting to blow it up here. Avery Hale to the Lions from the Eagles for a future first. And I believe we're getting into some auto-generated player territory here. Jacob Van Rooyen off to the Saints from Melbourne for pick 30 and 29. Cooper Simpson from Freo to Essendon for pick 40 and 23. James Rowbottom's been traded to the Crows. Jordan Croft to the Suns. Josh Dolan to the Bombers. Georgie Wardlaw's been traded to Collingwood. That's very interesting. Cade Chandler, who got traded from Melbourne to Essendon earlier on, has now been traded to the West Coast Eagles for a future second. Blake Laidler has been traded from Sydney to the Bulldogs for an unused pick and draft pick 1. So that #1 pick has been traded around a fair bit, actually. And Will Ashcroft has been traded from Brisbane to Hawthorn in exchange for a future first round pick and pick 11. Now, I know I said I was going to skip over the draft, but I've just seen that Sam Layla is available, so we're going to be picking him up. That is the only player that I'm going to pick up in the Draft Scouts honor that is of any relevance. Hopefully this will be our last season, because every objective from here on out is just going to be win the Premiership, nothing more. The lineup for 2029 is now here. Braden Chapman, our number 1 pick from season 1, up to 77 career games. He's doing very, very nicely. Mac Andrew at fullback. Lockie Cowan still here. Errol Goulden. Jacob Wiedering, 280 games for the club. And club captain, what a servant he has been. Tommy Stewart, still 90 overall in the prime of his career. Jagger Smith doing well. Nick Dacos, Caleb Sarong, Zach Butters, Sam Walsh, all still here. Sam DeConing, Isaac Rankin, Ben King, Harley Reid up to a 94 overall playing at half forward. What a player he has been for us. 132 goals for his career as well, doing very nicely. Ollie Dempsey, Aaron Cadman, Toby Green with Toby Nankervis, Sam Layla, Caden Mosley, Will Phillips, and Smokin' Joe Richards, who we picked up in the draft. He's going to be the sub for the coming year. I was going to say round 1, but it's actually opening round. We get the job done, kicking 7 goals to 2 up against Port Adelaide in Adelaide. And now we have round 1 up against Richmond. Having opening round really threw me off there. Hopefully we can start this season really well. We do. Back-to-back wins to start the year. Sam Walsh with the 3 Brownlow votes, 53 disposals. Wow. Ladder time, and we are doing very, very well. We're top of the ladder. We were unbeaten until 5 weeks ago. We were 18-0. Then we lost 2 games in a row. Then we won our last 3. We lost against St Kilda and Collingwood, so the 2 teams that are quite high up on the ladder. But what a start to the season it was. And it looks like Jack Whitlock has pipped one of our guys, or a few of our guys, to the Coleman medal. At one point in time, we had 3 players leading the Coleman. It was King, Cadman, and then Reid with Rankin, I think, was in 5th. But it seems like the goals have spread out a little bit more amongst the rest of the competition. But we now have qualifying final up against North Melbourne, who are in 4th. You'd think we'd win this, and we do very, very comfortably. Sam Walsh with the 3 votes, 38 disposals and 3 goals. And hopefully we can avoid a repeat of last year by losing in the prelim final. We lost to the Bulldogs last year. It appears they have been knocked out. So hopefully that will be the case. Brisbane.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Don't want to talk about it. Let's move on. Brisbane win the Premiership 168-52 against St Kilda. That is highly annoying, but that is okay. We're going to be back for another season. Jack Steele wins this season's Brownlow medal. Fantastic work by him. Whitlock, as we know, won the Coleman medal, and no Carlton players in the Rising Star. I wouldn't have expected to see any, only because we didn't really draft anybody that would have been eligible. Cadman makes it at full forward in the All-Australian team, as does Sam Walsh on the bench. Okay, we've made some changes. I've spent all the money. We've gotten Sheasel, Jackson, Green, and Anderson via free agency. 2029, good year for free agents, it turns out. So hopefully we don't lose a prelim for the 3rd consecutive year. That would be fantastic. We're going to be saying goodbye to all of these uncontracted players. So Toby Green, farewell and goodbye. Who else is uncontracted? Barrett, goodbye. Hamilton, a lot of these players you wouldn't have seen because they were just picked up randomly in the draft. Sam Berry, goodbye. Yeah, we're a little bit over budget, but with the autocorrect of the salary, the AI should be able to correct that for me, so I'm not going to be worrying about it too much. We do have a 1st round pick, as we haven't traded anybody away this year. Ollie Dempsey for 2 picks. I'm going to say no to that. However, we do have 8 roster spots to fill. Actually, no, we did trade our 1st round pick away. I'm remembering that incorrectly. Is there anybody of high overall that is going to be any use for us? Amir Dickinson, sure, or Dixon, I should say. Why not? We'll draft you. Okay, we're officially into the next decade. If we don't win a premiership this year, I think I might break something. Hopefully, we can get this through with a round 1 victory over Richmond. Tom Stewart, now 36 years of age, still hasn't played his 300th game yet, but he is now down to an 84. Mac Andrew, Lockie Cowan somehow has survived this rebuild. Errol Goulden, Jacob Wiedering down to a 74. We'll probably move on from him next season if we don't win. Chapman, Butters, Dacos, Sarong, Green, Sheasel, Jackson, Harley Reid, Cadman, I'm not finished, Jagger Smith, Sam Layla, Ben King, Isaac Rankin, Sam DeConing, Caden Mosley, so good, 20 years old, 86 overall, fantastic. Noah Anderson, Ollie Dempsey with Sam Walsh as the sub. If we do not win this year, I anger, big anger. 95-point win in round 1. Tom Green gets the 3 votes. Let's just meet up in the finals. We were so close to a perfect season. We were 20-0. We drew with Richmond. And we cost ourselves the perfect season. We were 1 point within a perfect season. That is so annoying. But 22 and a draw. Very, very good. Top of the ladder once again. We have won... Sorry, let me rephrase that. We have lost 5 games in 3 years in the regular season. 7 if you include finals and a draw. That is very, very good stuff from us. Qualifying final up against the Crows. We get the win very, very nicely. We go through to another prelim final. Okay, it's up against the Bombers, who have finished in 7th. Okay, we are calm, we are calm, we are calm. 13 wins and 10 losses. They have lost to 10 other teams this year. We were probably one of them. There were 10 games they didn't win. We think about it that way. If we don't win this game, I have no idea what I'm going to do. We almost lose. I don't know how we have almost lost that. We were up by 30 points in the middle of the 3rd quarter. We hang on 6-7 in the final quarter and we get the job done. Layla with the 3 goals. Who are we playing in the grand final? If it's Freo, actually Freo didn't make the top 8. It can't be Freo. It's the Crows again. So we've already played them in this final series. Taylor Walker is still playing in 2030. He's kicked 55 goals this year. Hang on. Before we do the grand final, we need to have a look at this. Taylor Walker, where are you? He's 40 years old and a 71 overall, yet he is leading the Coleman medal. He's kicked 879 goals, and at this point in his career, because the goal kicking accuracy is stupid for key forwards, he has kicked 875 behinds. He's played 435 games. How is he still playing? I have no idea. Beside the point, we got to play the Crows in this grand final. Let me just quickly turn the minutes down. Okay, adjust the lineup. There is nothing for us to adjust. We've had the week off. We're fine. We're going to play this one. Dan Curtin's the captain. We did try and get Dan Curtin, but a trade for him didn't materialize in the end. 2.5 minute quarters. We should be fine, gameplay-wise. The sliders are harder compared to when I did my Essendon rebuild. So hopefully, we don't crap the bed when the controller's in our hands. Here we go. And the conditions are absolutely perfect here at the MCG. Carlton, if you don't count the one that we won in season 1, that's a lot of ones in a sentence, have not won a premiership since 1995. So this will be our first grand final in over 35 years that we would have played. And the Crows are looking very, very good. They haven't won a flag since 1998. And they're going to be eager to play a good game here against the very heavy favourites in the Carlton Football Club. And the good old navy blue coming out into the MCG for what hopefully will be the final time this video. God, this has been a long video. It's a team full of superstars. It's a who's who of AFL greats. And surely, for the love of God, can we win this game? And unfortunately, I don't think there's actually many players left from the original lineup. We've got Caden Mosley, who we drafted in season 1, but Jacob Wiedering and Sam Walsh, I believe that's probably it. At least I can think of off the top of my head. Lovely work on the national anthem, as always. Wiedering, the captain, and Dan Curtin. Quite the age discrepancy with the skippers here. And you'd think they'd be matched up against each other today. We're going to kick to the left of screen after winning the toss. And the hype music in for the first time in a long time. And I have not played AFL 26 in about a week, so I'm going to be quite rusty. Clear the ball out of the middle. Harley Reid has the mark at half forward. We've got to find a target here. Let's just kick it long. Dacos! Can't take the mark off the deck. He's missed. We get the first score, which is always good. Nice and early. Now with Ryan at halfback for the Crows. There's going to be a few unusual names in this one. Jake the Snake Rogers wearing number 1. One of my favourite sons. Now on the Crows. Now with Chapman, the number 1 pick from season 1. Who's sitting under this? It's the Jagger. I forgot about him. He is here from season 1. Oh, and the kick is absolutely awful. That's terrible. Caleb Sarong intercepts at half forward. We're going to have a lot of players capable of intercepting balls in our half forward line because we have a lot of strong marking types in our forward line. Now with Lockie Scholl, who survived the... He's still here apparently. He's still with Adelaide after all these years. Going to the pocket, Ben King takes the mark. Matched up on Jake Saligo. You'd think that's a bit of a disadvantage for Saligo. This is a really poor check side. Let's hit the post. So not the best kicking start for the Blues in this one. Did say, haven't played in about a week, so feeling a little bit rusty. Good tackle by Layla, but it's a free kick against, unfortunately. Saligo now kicking down the line. Rankin standing the mark, the former Crow. Layla at centre half forward. Can he take it in the hands? No, he can't. Ball goes to ground. Now Draper on the deck once again. Blues are swooping. Cadman with the tackle does a good job forcing the pressure. Harley Reid just needs to send it long. King's got Saligo on him. Easy mark. And surely this is an easy kick in front of goal. 22 minutes gone on the siren. It's another behind. No goals in the first quarter of the 2030 grand final. And also what's quite impressive is that Matthew Nix and Michael Voss are still both coaches of both clubs respectively. Ball hit down by, I think that's Luke Jackson in the ruck there. Draper gets wrapped up by Jacko. Does well. Trying to clear it in the middle. Can't. Ball goes to foot. Chapman takes the mark at halfback. Does a good job. We got players running wide. Jackson, one of the most athletic rucks in the AFL. Down the line. King and Saligo once again. We've got a ball over the top if we can get it. We just need one of you to take the mark. And it's in the hands of the former Crow, Isaac Rankin. How appropriate he would kick the first goal of the grand final, and he's missed as well. This game is just out to frustrate me today. I don't know why that is the case, but it just is. Now with Luca Grego at halfback, kicking down the line. Sid Draper takes it in the hands. Poor kick though. Nick Dacos hasn't had a lot of it today, but does a good job. Harry Sheasel has a few to deal with, takes a really good mark. Plays over the top. Ollie Dempsey is actually out by himself. Easy, easy mark. Hopefully we can just line this up with that right goalpost. It'll swing in beautifully. And it's hit the left goalpost. Just one of those days. It's a poor kick. Sure, we can just get over the top. Chapman can't take it. Quick snap on goal. Finally, we get our first. And it's the number 1 pick that gets it. 1 goal 5. Plays absolutely nothing so far to start the grand final. Caleb Sarong in pursuit of this ball at half forward. We handball it to absolutely nobody. Wiedering and Curtin. And now Curtin from outside 50. Mac Andrews on the goal line. Just has to sit under it and takes a good mark. Down the line now with Layla. Let's kick the ball inside. We've got Dacos all by himself. And we've got Blues streaming forward. Take your pick, Nick. Let's go to... Oh, Rankin can't take the mark. Center the ball. Back in the hands of Dempsey. For 2 in the final moments of the first half. He puts it through. Back to a 17-point lead. And the Crows are in big trouble if they don't get their kicking boots on soon. And that is halftime of the 2030 grand final. 2-5 so far. Crows are actually dominating possession a fair bit right now, but Chapman and Dempsey with the goals. Anybody with multiple behinds? Doesn't actually look like it. Saligo and Draper getting majority of the ball, but we're ahead on the scoreboard, and that's where it counts. Jackson back in the middle. Great bounce by the umpire. Now with Thompson Dow. Great tackle. That's not holding the ball, unfortunately. Gonna have a second crack at it in the middle of the ground. Jackson hits it down. Handball forward. We've got a player wide in Jagger Smith. Kicks it from inside the center square. And Ben King, too big and strong for Saligo. I'm actually going to go around the body with this one. He's already got 4 contested marks on the day. And you'd think he is due a goal. Finally puts one through. Feeling a lot more comfortable now. Jackson can't win it out of the ruck this time around, but we've got a loose ball middle of the ground. Ball kicked forward looking for Fogarty. Can't find him. Tom Stewart standing at centre half back. What a long career he's had. Would love to cap it off with a premiership. Layla on the move now. Kicking down the line, looking for Cadman. Takes a good mark. Tough angle, but definitely capable. Hopefully we can just sneak this one in past that left goal post. Looking for his first of the day. Swings across the face of goal. Loose ball, middle of the ground. Dacos is wrapped up. Good pressure by the Crows. Really well done. But they turn the ball over straight away to Errol Goulding. Or Goulden, I should say. And Noah Anderson sitting under this one. Hasn't touched it today. Going to kick the ball over the top. And Layla takes it in the square. And surely he doesn't miss this one. It's a little bit to the left, but it's fine. It's a 5-goal lead to Carlton. And the Crows are nowhere to be seen. Going to get our first look at Tom De Koning in the ruck today. Handball goes backwards. Now in the hands of Sid Draper. Gets wrapped up by De Koning. Fantastic work by him. Down the line now. Aaron Cadman wearing that famous number 25. Takes the mark just inside 50. Probably be kicking from outside 50. But definitely capable. Let's see if that booming left can put this through. Not bad, but not quite what we need. We're almost actually close to our 6 out of 7 behinds achievement, funnily enough. And there is the 3-quarter time siren. It's a 25-minute quarter. And the Crows have been so disappointing today. 2 goals again to 0. Let's finish this strong. There's the address from Matty Nix. Kick in that hype music. And let's put these Crows into extinction. And in saying that, the Crows get the first clearance. But now, Mac Andrew, he's done a good job of keeping the Texan goalless. But straight after, I'll talk a bit of smack about the Crows. Darcy Jones gets the crumbs. And to be honest, he looks a little bit weird wearing the orange helmet in a Crows uniform. But good to see the Crows get a score there. Mac Andrew probably could have, defended it anywhere else and it would have been fine. Just don't punch the ball back into the corridor. And King takes the mark. Let's kick it to the top of the goal square. Cadman's down there. He deserves a goal. And he takes a mark on the goal line. And it's another poster. We get our achievement, which is something, or our objective, I should say. But we need to get the Caddyshack goal. That is my one ambition before the end of this game. I'm assuming we have it won at this point in time. Crows have the ball out the back here. There's a few players forward now in the hands of Jones once again. Having quite a good quarter. Ball goes to ground. Fogarty gets wrapped up. Great tackle by Jacob Wiedering. The skipper, whose blood bleeds blue, does a fantastic job once again. Now we got Cadman and Saligo. Is Saligo just playing at fullback? Is that what's happening? If so, why is he playing at fullback? Because that is stupid. Short little ball over the top, intercepted by Sam Walsh, who's been subbed into the game for today. Now with Layla in the forward pocket, takes the mark on Douglas. I'm going to go with the banana here. For a second goal, Layla could be a sneaky Norm Smith medal candidate. 6 disposals, 4 contested marks, and 2 goals. That's solid. Ezra Pereira having a shot on goal late for the Crows. A few of our guys are a little bit knackered. That one squeezes past the right goal post. Crows get one back. Long ball out of the middle, looking for Dempsey. Takes the mark. Cadman's on the move. Can we get it to him in time? Yes, we don't. No. Cadman can't get the mark before the siren. It's not going to matter because Carlton have finally won an AFL Premiership. Now time for the presentations of the 2030 AFL Grand Final. I have no idea who's going to be the Norm Smith medalist. Usually there's one obvious pick, but I truly have no idea. And it is Sam Layla, someone who we picked up in the mid-season draft, or it might have been the rookie draft. It was definitely one of those, but we didn't trade for him. The former number 1 pick becomes a Norm Smith medalist. And here comes Michael Voss. His white sneakers. Not really sure I'd pick that with the suit pants. I'm not really sure about it. But Jacob Wiedering stands by as his captain. And the Premiership Cup, which has taken so long to be delivered, back into Carlton's hands for number 17. Raise it high, you Blue Boys. What a performance by our guys once again. I cannot overstate how well we played for the first 3 quarters. The Crows outscore us in the final quarter. Layla with the 2 goals and a ton of marks was best on. Saligo, 10 kicks, but had quite a few goals kicked on him in the end. Quite funny in the... we have $6 million in the bank. Wow. But our season is complete. Tom Green beats out his teammate Harry Sheasel in the Brownlow medal this time, just by 1 vote, and did a fantastic job. The Texan leads the way in the Coleman. No Rising Star Award winner for us this season, but the midfield is all Carlton. Jackson, Sheasel, and Green, and Nick Dacos on the bench. What a fantastic job. But the Carlton rebuild is finally done. We get our $1.25 million for winning. This one was absolutely exhausting to get done. We'll have a look at the season stats for Carlton. This one, we had a ton of players kick a ton of goals. I know I didn't do the stats every single year this rebuild because, I mean, we would have been here all day if I did. We may be here all day anyway. But a tremendous, tremendous video. Thank you so much for suggesting it. I'm going to leave a poll, as always, on my community page, so you guys can vote for who you guys want to see next. We've not got many clubs to go, so the choices are getting more and more less frequent, I should say. But thank you very much once again. Please leave a like and subscribe to the video if you are new. And until then, I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.